Welcome back to Voices of Old, where we journey through the lives of remarkable figures who shaped history, their voices echoing through time. Today, we delve into the life of Charles Grandison Finney, a man who was as relentless in his beliefs as he was fiery in his sermons, a figure of both controversy and transformation, known for his pivotal role in the Second Great Awakening in America. Charles Grandison Finney was born on August 29, 1792, in Warren, Connecticut. The America he was born into was young, full of promise and uncertainty. Finney's early life was marked by the struggles typical of frontier families. His parents, farmers of modest means, moved the family from Connecticut to upstate New York, a place that would later become known as the Burned-Over District because of the religious fervor that swept the region. Finney's early years were anything but extraordinary. Growing up, he had little formal religious instruction. In fact, Finney was often skeptical of organized religion. Instead, his upbringing was one of hard labor, and his education was informal at best. Yet he had a sharp mind and a curiosity that would shape his future. By his late teens, Finney was studying law, which led him to read the Bible, not as a religious text but as a piece of literature and historical document. This intellectual curiosity would become the spark for his transformation. By 1821, at the age of 29, Finney had experienced what he would later call his conversion moment. As he studied law, he was struck by an intense spiritual awakening, a conviction of sin, and a call to abandon his pursuit of legal studies in favor of serving God. In a forest near his law office, Finney claimed to have a powerful encounter with God, a baptism of the Holy Spirit, as he described it. This moment would change the course of his life and ultimately American Christianity. Finney soon abandoned law and became a Presbyterian preacher, but his approach to evangelism was unconventional, even radical. Unlike the Calvinist doctrines that dominated his time, Finney rejected the idea that individuals were predestined to be saved or condemned. Instead, he preached that each person had the free will to choose salvation, an idea that would underpin the Arminian theology he championed. Finney's message was urgent, personal, and active, a call to action that resonated with those eager for change in their lives and communities. By the mid-1820s, Finney's preaching had set him apart. He moved through towns and cities across upstate New York, holding intense revival meetings that drew crowds by the thousands. In Rochester, New York, his 1830-31 revival would become legendary, a powerful catalyst for the burgeoning Second Great Awakening. The meetings were electric. Finney's words cut deep, challenging his listeners to take responsibility for their moral lives and commit themselves to social reform. Finney's revivals were not mere sermons, they were immersive experiences. He employed what he called new measures, radical techniques for his time. The anxious bench, a precursor to the modern altar call, was one such method, where those seeking salvation could sit in a specific area to receive prayers and guidance. He encouraged women to pray aloud, an unthinkable act for many at the time, and he believed in the power of direct, unfiltered appeals to the soul. Finney's focus was not only on personal salvation, but also on societal change. He viewed sin as systemic as well as individual, and he pushed his followers to act against societal ills like slavery and alcohol abuse. This dual message, personal salvation and social activism, caught fire. Many credit Finney as one of the early leaders who ignited the social reform movements of the 19th century, from abolition to temperance. In 1835, Finney became a professor at Oberlin College in Ohio, where he would spend the next 4 decades. Oberlin, under Finney's influence, became a haven for reformist ideas. It was one of the first colleges to admit both black students and women, and it served as a significant stop on the Underground Railroad. For Finney, education and activism were inseparable. He believed that an enlightened Christian had a duty to reshape society according to God's justice. Yet Finney was not without his critics. His rejection of predestination angered Calvinists, and his fiery emotional methods were seen by some as manipulative. His blending of religion and social reform was considered dangerous by those who preferred a less political church. But Finney was undeterred, holding firm to his beliefs and pushing forward with relentless energy. As the years passed, Finney's influence continued to grow, though his focus shifted from the revival stage to the classroom and pulpit at Oberlin. There, he became a guiding force for a new generation, teaching that Christianity was not a passive faith, but a call to action. His theology evolved, but his commitment to free will and moral reform never wavered. He saw himself as a soldier in a spiritual battle, as committed to social justice as he was to saving souls. Finney's legacy is complex and enduring. He is remembered not only as a religious revivalist, but also as a reformer, an educator, and a moral force. His work laid the groundwork for many modern evangelical practices, and for the idea that faith should lead to tangible action in the world. The ripples of his influence are felt in social reform movements, evangelical revivals, and the broader shape of American Protestantism to this day. Charles Grandison Finney died on August 16, 1875, just shy of his 83rd birthday. He left behind a changed America, an America where the ideals of revivalism and social justice were intertwined. Today, as we look back, we see not only the preacher and the professor, but a man who, through sheer conviction, helped forge a path for a more active, engaged faith. And in that, his voice still speaks, challenging us to consider the power of one life, driven by a fierce sense of purpose. Thank you for joining us on Voices of Old. Join us next time as we continue exploring the lives that shaped the world we know today.